Do you feel like you're constantly swimming upstream? Like the whole software team is pushing against you? Like you just can't do your best work because your team doesn't have the support it needs to do the job right? You probably work with a software team that has overall low operational maturity, and you're definitely not alone. This is common for a lot of people, too many people. But what do you do? Stay tuned over the next few weeks, and we'll break it all down. What's up, UX fam? How's your mom and them? Today is not a full episode, but I wanted to announce a new series that I'm kicking off this week. We're going to be covering something that makes our jobs 1,000 times harder than it needs to be, and not just the UX team's job, literally everybody on the software team. That thing is overall low software operational maturity. And I'm sure you've heard tons of people talk about low UX maturity. And while, yes, UX maturity is important, what a lot of people don't talk about is software maturity in general. Software maturity is pretty low on a lot of teams, and no matter how mature you want your UX team to be, it won't make a difference if the overall software maturity of your team is in bad shape. Now, software maturity is low because most of the subsets of the software team also tend to have low operational maturity. Product team operational maturity, engineering team operational maturity, agile maturity, CI/CD maturity, low maturity when it comes to customer support, low maturity when it comes to security, right? Any number of things. Now, low software maturity can lead to all kinds of problems for a UX designer. And when the overall software maturity is low, there's often a lack of process or standardization across teams, disorganized processes, unclear roles, ineffective communication, and so on. No clarity, no vision. And maybe worst of all, no one is ever interested in getting better. Now, all this leads to a pretty rough time for everybody, but since you're probably a UX designer, that's the lens that we're going to be approaching this series with. Now, when software operational maturity is low, the UX team is likely not involved at a high level, and we aren't involved with discovery or planning. There's no real UX process. We get limited resources and support. There's no way to measure the success of anything that we design and build, and there's probably an overall lack of a user-centered culture. So today, I'm kicking off a series on low software operational maturity, and I'm digging into what UX designers can do to overcome some of these issues, or at least work with them to do our jobs as best as we can. Now, we're going to first dive into low product operational maturity and the ways that that can manifest itself, some tips on how to deal with that. Then we'll dive into low engineering operational maturity. Next, we'll dive into stakeholder maturity, which is kind of something that I've come up with to describe things like executive sponsors, maybe the sales or marketing teams. And we often hear this lumped together as quote unquote the business on in-house teams. And these are usually people not on the actual software team, but people who can influence the work that we do. They could be internal or external. Then we're going to close it out with how UX designers can learn to thrive in an organization with low UX maturity. And we'll dive into how UX professionals might be able to navigate some of the issues that you'll see on teams with that problem. And I'm really excited to dive into this with everybody because I think this is really important, and it's most likely something that you're going to run into in the real world. And I think it's really important for you guys to know. Well, all right, y'all, stay tuned for the first episode on low product operational maturity to drop this week. As always, thanks to Chris, Siraquan, Stacy, Radu, Megan, Andrew, and John for supporting the show. And remember to sign up for the newsletter to get notified about every new episode at beyonduxdesign.com. So I'm really excited to kick this series off. I think it's going to be super helpful for everybody who has to deal with some of this crap every day. And until next time, remember, you're more than a designer because there's more to UX and design. I'll see you soon. Take care, y'all.